Welcome, everybody. We're here at the inaugural News-O-Matic webinar. I appreciate everybody taking time out of their day to come down and visit us. My name is Russell Kahn. I am the editor-in-chief of News-O-Matic. I'm here with some incredible presenters. Thank you. This is our logo. We have a really important topic to talk about today. Of course, that's the reason that we're all taking time out of our day to be here. So I guess we could maybe give ourselves 1 minute just to let some folks come aboard. It's 4:01. I'm very excited, as everyone can probably tell. I suppose I'll just use this time. I just want to introduce myself a little bit deeper. I'm the editor-in-chief of News-O-Matic, and I have both a journalism background and an education background. So this is really my passion, to be working on News-O-Matic, to be delivering news for children. It's been our belief from day one that kids deserve an opportunity to learn about the world and about current events, and not simply as sort of a weekly or feature basis, but daily, breaking, up-to-the-minute news. We should treat them with respect and give them the opportunities to learn. So that's really been the core of our mission, and of course, to inspire a love of reading, daily reading. So. All right, it looks like a few more folks have joined us, so I think I'm going to get started a little bit so that we don't go on too long. So let me just, everyone can see my screen here where it says welcome to our seminar. I'm just going to flip ahead. I want everyone to just kind of understand what we are. We're an app, so we are being used by kids all around the country. Those are some kids in, I guess, Nebraska, Texas, and Virginia. That is 4th and 5th graders, but we're actually used from really K through 8. We take every one of our stories and we translate it for different levels. We write it for early elementary, upper elementary, and then even in middle school, so that kids of all reading abilities have the opportunity to learn and to read what's happening in their world. And as you can see, they tend to get pretty engaged. One aspect about the summer slide that we're going to talk about a little bit is it's not just reading, it's not just sitting down with a book, but it is, of course, getting engaged, writing, just getting involved in literacy in any way possible. And so one thing that we always try to do is to engage our readers with drawings and with comments. So here are just, we get hundreds of these every day, and it's just wonderful to see how kids respond. We really try to get their opinions and to get them to share their thoughts on whatever's happening in the world. And of course, we give them a voice as well as we publish their comments in the app. So, I think, the fact that we're all here, we all understand how big of an issue the summer slide is. We're all taking time to understand what we can do about it. But it's worth repeating, and it's worth just understanding that kids who take off from school in June, and actually there are a few classes that have already taken off for the summer, including Tammy's class. They may actually drop 2 months worth of reading. They may actually do very little reading over the summer, and then by the time they come back into school in the fall or the end of the summer, they have to catch up, and then you're already playing catch up early in the school year, and that's no place that an educator wants to be. So the good news is we can remedy this. This is not a problem that has no solution. In fact, I love this graph. It's actually been up on our walls here in News-O-Matic for over 2 years since the first summer we launched, because you can see the red line. That's what happens with students who don't have access to books or reading materials. But then the blue line are those same students who have access, and they can gain they can actually gain skills over the summer, and that's just such a powerful idea that you can come back to school and you don't have to play catch up. And that is really the philosophy of what we're here today. We have some incredible presenters. I'll talk about them right now. We have Jane Clare. Thank you, Jane, for joining us.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Jane. We have Jennifer Kirk, who's joining us down from up in Connecticut.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And then Tammy Bailey, who is a teacher down in Georgia.
Hello.
Wonderful. So this is the order of our presenters, and each one is going to take about 8 to 10 minutes talking about some solutions that they have come up with in their years in the classroom for preventing the summer slide. But while we're talking, I'd like to encourage everybody to, on their GoToWebinar control panel, send in questions. If you scroll down, there's a tab that says questions, and you can send me questions throughout throughout the webinar. In fact, I already see one that says, "Will this be recorded?" And the answer is, we are recording it now. So hopefully we can share that with everybody as we're done. Feel free to ask questions, and at the end of the 3 presentations, we'll do a little Q&A. And I do want to mention one last thing before we launch into the individual presentations, which is that everyone who's here today, everyone who's attending, we are happy to share with them a free summer subscription to News-O-Matic. It can be shared with students, it can be shared with colleagues. We want people to be reading over the summer. We want students to continue that process. So really, honestly, we're going to send out a follow-up email within the next 24, 48 hours. It'll include instructions on how to get your free subscription. But that's a big part of what we're doing here. We really just want to continue that reading process throughout the summer. So let me introduce Jane Clare. Jane has actually been working with us for over a year now. She's wonderful. She spent 30 years in the classroom, middle grades. She's worked specifically with special ed, and she is the founder or the co-founder of Teachers with Apps. So that makes her, she has an incredible experience to share and some very good feedback. So without further ado, Jane, I'm going to let you get started here now, but just as we agreed, I'm going to open up my slideshow for you here, which is over here. And Jane, you can begin talking when you're ready.
Well, hi everyone. I'm Jane Clare, and I wanted to let you know that Teachers with Apps is a review site where we review the best of the educational apps, the best of the best. And today we're here to talk about Summer Slide, and we want to let our people. Wait, we're going not 30 seconds, Russ.
Sorry.
Sorry. We want to let you all know about some ways that you can prevent Summer Slide and some creative ways, some think out of the box type of ways, and get rid of those worksheets and be creative, because that's what our kids really need in this day and age. So now we're back to slide 1, which was my...
Sorry.
Okay. I just want everybody to know Russ didn't want me to move my own slides.
Are you ready?
Ready for 3? There, News-O-Matic. I've been using News-O-Matic for years, not just 1 year, but many years, in a middle school setting. My special ed resource room students just loved News-O-Matic for their current events. It was their go-to on a daily basis. If you don't know, News-O-Matic has 5 news stories every day and has great teacher tools that go along with it. Curriculum guides, videos, interactive maps. It's very cool, and you got to check it out if you don't know it well already. I want to talk about writing because I feel like it's one of the overlooked cornerstones of literacy. And here's just an example of drawing and labeling. This is actually my daughter wrote breakfast at Kate's, and then she has many sheep there. I never let my students leave without a summer journal. I just think it's really important. It's a great way to get them motivated and write, and it's really open-ended. This is a camp diary that my daughter kept at a summer day camp. And by adding the stickers and the, what do you call those things? Scrapbooking, the scrapbooking components, it just really made it a lot more motivating again for the kids to get involved and record what they were doing. And there's great photographs in here, great memories, and it was really fun to find these things and pull them out and share with you, because I'm really big on saving student artifacts. Okay, next one, William Stein. We're doing an author study for this learning log in summer school, and you may not be able to see Shrek in the back there, but what we did was, after this author study, I had the students write questions and answers for each other, and they put them in these little pockets inside their journals. And no one could believe that Shrek was a movie. When I brought the book, movie first, when I brought the book in, they were like, no way, no way. So it was really just another way to get kids excited about learning. Here's another one of my own children's works. He went on a special trip and kept this travel log, which included ticket stubs and cards from the museums and restaurants, and he even wrote about a toy store window that he remembered. And it, again, is just a way for kids to take ownership and take responsibility for the writing without fear of failure, without fear of taking a risk or being corrected or that red pen. This I was so excited to find is a timeline. I only have half of it here. A timeline of one of my students from probably 20 some odd years ago. And it was just a really neat activity because, again, it's open-ended. Kids had to do some pre-planning to figure out what they were really going to put down here as their milestones. And it was just a great activity to again, use that more creative side. And it's too bad it's with me and not with him, wherever he may be. Visual literacy. I love maps, and I think visual literacy in general is not used enough. It's those teachable moments. You see things around you all the time that we just don't use. It could be as simple as having your child read the GPS directions to you while you're driving them to a sports event. Or my book alternative was to take the plot of a story or a specific chapter and construct a map that reenacts what was going on in that specific chapter or story, and really takes a lot of critical thinking and analytical skills to do that. Go back and reread what you've read. This is my major excitement, is that now apps are including a manipulative component. Physical objects are now able to interact with apps. And as a special ed teacher, nothing could be more paramount to me than getting these physical objects back in the hands of kids. This one's called Tigly. There's another one called Osmo. There is another company called Marbotic that has an old wooden puzzle type, classic wooden puzzle. And a new one just out called Storied Myth, where it's storytelling. It's for the older students, and it's a scavenger hunt type of thing. And if you don't know Tigly or Osmo, I would really encourage you to go out and check it out, because they're really on the cutting edge here for taking this whole concept. The anti-coloring book I used for some 20-odd years. They have at least 15, 16 different books with different themes, and now they have an app, and it starts out with not a specific something to color or a sentence starter. It just gives you just a little bit of an idea, and then the kids take it wherever they want. So I love this app. I love the books, and I just think it's another great summer activity to keep kids going, thinking, especially if they're along those artistic terms. This is a great one. Avokiddo apps. This is Beck and Bo, this little collage type of environment they're in, and a great conversation, language builder. They go on all kinds of different journeys, including an ABC ride, which really has got some different components, really surprising. There's always giggles galore with Avokiddo apps, and I highly recommend pretty much everything they've done. So, Back to States was my one of my first reviews ever, and I caught myself playing it in the car waiting for my son to finish up some sports event, and I just couldn't believe how engaged I got. And it's not just social studies and geography. There's questions throughout that the children have to answer about states, their capitals, borders, locations, size. They've really done a great job in having all the states represented in the appropriate size. And this is just a wonderful, wonderful tool for kids to continue their literacy skills as well as learning about the U.S. Bobo Explores Light. This is a really adorable science app geared for the younger students. There's this very comical robot who shows you around, and there's 21 different light phenomena type of experiments that you go through. And again, there's a lot of literacy involved in even something like science, but you want to get the kids interested, and if a kid's into the science, then there's an app for that. It includes literacy. I love the Star Walk apps for family sharing. The original one they put out never expecting it to be such an educational success, so they followed it up this year with Star Walk Kids. And it'd just be a great summer activity to go outside with your family and learn about our vast universe. Exploratorium is a San Francisco-based art science museum, and they have two apps. These are for more the middle-aged grades, and they're just so cutting edge with the type of concepts that they're dealing with. The kids are so engaged. It's hands-on. There's even one experiment where it asks you to put a drop of water on your iPad. And the kids thought I was crazy, but we did it, and again, highly recommended for keeping kids engaged over the summertime. The other one is called Sound Uncovered. This one's color uncovered, and the other one's sound. Again, for a little bit older students, World's Worst Pet by Curriculum Associates in conjunction with Art Gig apps. This is just, again, for the older students, and I thought, I'm not going to like this app, World's Worst Pet. I don't like the title. Kids proved me wrong once again. You never know the magic of an app until you put the device in the hands of the child. And this is just great. Little Snargle in the corner down there. The little blue dog follows you around, and the kids just love working with this. And they're learning. You just watch them learning as they play these great games. I wanted to just make sure I talked about creative exploratory play and the maker movement. A lot of people I don't think are totally familiar that the maker movement is a big thing going on right now with digital tech, and it's really learning by doing, and it's not a new idea. It's just we've got to get back to that. We're so involved in test prep, testing, and all that we've just got to give the kids back the tools and the ability to be making their own things. Read, 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 of course, can't not talk about reading. And this slide represents Middle School Confidential, which is a just unbelievably fabulous sort of tween graphic novel. And in the little fine print there, I talked about Noisy Crow, a publisher out of the UK that takes classic fairy tales and has redone them with a real digital twist. And Dawn Publishing has amazing illustrations with nonfiction works. So those are just a few of the many, just the tip of the iceberg of the kind of apps that are out there. And then just a shout out for teachers with apps. I just want to let any teachers know that I'm always looking for teachers to get involved, whether it's writing reviews or a guest blog. And later today I'll be posting this entire deck of slides on my site, so you can go back. You don't need to be worrying about taking notes now. And you'll find it all on Teachers with Apps. So thanks, Russ.
Thank you so much, Jane.
Oh, that was Haiku Deck. I didn't give that a shout out. I made that deck with Haiku Deck. It's the new PowerPoint.
And I just want to add one personal note to this conversation, which is after you and I first talked about your presentation and what you wanted to talk about, and about summer journals, I want you to know that I purchased one for each of my kids, and I'm going to be giving them this to them this weekend. I'm very excited to, they're a little bit younger, they're 5 and 7, but I'm very excited to get them started with that summer reading journal idea. So thank you personally.
Oh, no problem. Thanks. Thanks for having me.
Of course. All right, so next we have Jennifer Kirk, who's going to talk to us a little bit about keeping students engaged, and she's got, everyone has their own platform that they like. This one is Prezi, so I'm gonna launch from here, and Jennifer, you can start when you're ready, I suppose.
Great. Thanks, Jane. That was a really interesting presentation. I can't wait to check out your deck. So I just wanted to talk about the impact of Summer Slide on reading achievement, particularly today, and really what we can do as educators and as parents to prevent it. So when we're talking about Summer Slide, really we're referring to that reading loss or decline in reading achievement that occurs over the summer season when children are not in school. And this backslide over the summer really can have long-term effects on reading achievement, as Russ mentioned in the introduction, because students' reading skills fall back summer after summer after summer, and the gap between children who are reading and children who aren't reading over the summer just continues to widen. So if we consider that loss of 2 to 3 months each summer, it can really accumulate to a gap of almost 2 years in reading achievement by the end of 6th grade. So as educators and parents, we really need to consider addressing Summer Slide by focusing on reading volume. So the amount of actual reading of connected text, which is of great importance for all students, but especially for struggling readers. There's a large body of research by Barbara Hines that shows the volume of summer reading to be the best indicator of summer reading loss or gain. And children who read during the summer months, they're less likely to experience summer reading loss and more likely to have their achievement remain steady or to modestly increase. Haynes' research also demonstrated correlationally that for socioeconomically disadvantaged children who voluntarily read during the summer, reading loss largely disappeared. Naturally, kids that struggle with reading don't tend to have much interest in trying to read a high volume of text. Their skills are generally weak, and their interests in reading are therefore most of the time low. But in addition to our struggling readers, we also have students who have the reading skills but don't have the reading habits, meaning they aren't accustomed to reading for enjoyment or out of their own interests. And they don't choose to read outside of school. So that becomes a real problem over the course of the summer, of course. Oftentimes, pleasure reading is not fostered in classrooms due to pressures of accountability in schools, and we end up with kids, even those that have well-developed reading skills, who are just simply not in the habit of reading. And then, of course, summer just adds to this problem. So as educators and parents, we need to look at summer as an opportune time to develop children's passions for reading. And we need to make great efforts to spark kids' interest in all types of texts and to get those texts in kids' hands and right at their fingertips, of course. So I just wanted to touch upon access to text at this point. So increasing access to text produces larger achievement gains than many other interventions, and it's typically much, much more cost-effective than intervention programs that require staffing and facilities, transportation, and training of staff, of course. Just simply providing books and access to other types of texts may facilitate either parent and child reading or increased reading by children themselves, just simply by providing access. Research shows that children who have greater access to text are more likely to have better attitudes towards reading. They're more motivated to read. They tend to read more. They have better language development. They show stronger emergent literacy skills, and they show stronger reading and writing skills, and just demonstrate better overall academic achievement. So in summary, easy access to text is absolutely essential to developing skilled readers. One great way to access text over the summer is, of course, through online magazine subscriptions like News-O-Matic, and certainly through book distribution programs that hopefully schools will foster as well. So the next piece I'd like to touch upon is text selection, and just talk about the text that children have access to They have to be obviously both engaging and at each child's independent reading level. And what's engaging, of course, to one child may or may not be engaging to another. And if we want kids to read voluntarily, we need to let them choose their own texts. So giving children the authority, the choice to choose their own reading materials, it not only empowers them, but it can give them a sense of pride and ownership over their own reading. So when kids are not given the opportunity to choose their own text, and we assign them lengthy summer book lists or summer reading assignments, they oftentimes feel more disinterested than interested and really devalued in the whole reading process. Kids will most likely read for longer and for more frequent periods of time if they play an active role in the selection of their text. Just like with adults, kids want to read what's of interest to them, and they need to be given the choice to be the determiners of that. So in addition to choosing texts that are engaging to kids, of course, we need to consider the level and the complexity of the text. So kids must experience successful reading if we want them to develop reading habits. And if our goal is to develop kids who choose to read for pleasure, then the experience, of course, has to be an enjoyable one. And oftentimes, our most struggling readers tend to select texts that they cannot read accurately, and this just perpetuates the cycle of reading and frustration, and it's in direct conflict of our goal for summer reading, which is to develop kids' passions for reading. We need to consider when we're talking about selecting texts for kids, oftentimes kids are drawn to texts that focus on what's out in the media and mass marketing, and we need to kind of consider kid culture today and balance that with literary quality when we're selecting text. But we can't ignore kid culture and their interests, and we need to acknowledge that that's what kids want to read, and that if that's what gets them reading, then we need to capitalize on that. Lastly, I just wanted to touch upon parent involvement in summer reading. Summer reading programs that provide encouragement and guidance to parents and caregivers have larger impacts on reading achievement than programs that do not. So programs that encourage reading with your child and provide guidance on how to read with your child, how to talk about texts, as well as providing parents with some information on how to scaffold reading supports, they have larger impacts than programs that don't include these crucial components. So not only do we need to make text accessible, but we need to be working with our parents as to how to be reading with their kids and how to be discussing text with them. So educators, we need to involve our parents in summer reading by informing them of not only the importance of summer reading volume, but the importance of getting text in kids' hands, and the importance of allowing kids to choose texts, and the importance of sharing enthusiasm for reading. And so for parents, if you're unsure of how to guide your children to select texts that are both engaging and of an appropriate level, if you don't have access to a large selection of texts, or if you're unsure about how to talk to your kids about reading, you can of course reach out to your children's schools and let them know you're in need of support this summer, and of course feel free to ask us some questions at the end of our session today.
That was wonderful. Thank you very much, Jennifer. I appreciate your insight today.
Thank you.
Oops. So let me just X out of here. Okay. Okay. So we just heard from Jane, and we heard from Jennifer, and our last presenter today is Tammy Bailey, who she's a second grade teacher at a school called Bluebird Academy, and her last day of school was on Friday, which is remarkable for folks like us up here in New York City. That school would be over. But she has an interesting background because she not only teaches second grade, but she implemented a one-to-one iPad pilot program for grades 5 and 6. So she has a lot of experience at all the different grades in elementary, and of course with technology. In fact, her Twitter handle is Tammy Tech Bailey. Is that it?
That is it.
So we'll be sure to tweet you out after this. So we can talk about some of the things that Tammy wants to talk about, but I do know that parental involvement is one of those. So I'll let you talk from here, Tammy, and begin,
First of all, thank you guys for having me today. And I have I have a hard act to follow, of course. I have taken notes on their presentations all over my notes. It's been lots of really good information. My concern about the summer slide, I look at it from a parental approach. You know, as a parent, how much time do you want your child to, how do you work with your child to strike that balance with making sure that they have fun and enjoy being out of school, but yet they don't experience the 2 to 3 month slide that we are all aware of. And for me, with my daughter, what I would do until I could really get her to develop a love of reading, she would read a page and I would read a page. And some nights I would read more pages than she would read, but at the end of the day, I do have a child that is a lifelong lover, or at least thus far at 20, of reading. And so, you know, I'm just really excited and happy about that. I wish that some of the things that I'm going to share with you today were around when I was in the trenches working really hard to do it with my own child, but some of my favorite programs that I would like to talk to you about, one of them being Wonderopolis. Wonderopolis is a web-based program that is science-based, so it is nonfiction, but it really encourages students to wonder. They're nonfiction articles, they're vocabulary words, and you can also use Wonderopolis as a writing prompt. But it basically teaches that creative thinking and lets a child know that it's okay to have questions, it's okay to wonder. And every morning at 6 o'clock, my alarm, I get an alert from Wonderopolis because every day there is a wonder of the day. So that is definitely a site that I think that is worth checking out. It is web-based. That's one of my favorites. One of my other favorites is Epic Books, and so I was happy to hear Jennifer Kirk say that it's important for children to be able to have a voice and ownership in the books that they choose to read over the summer. So Epic Books is a site that has over 1,000 kid-friendly books for them to choose, fiction, nonfiction, that just encourage them to read. One of the things that I like about Epic Books is oftentimes, as a parent, if you know that your child is reading, you're wanting to make sure that your child is reading on their level. So when you, on that next slide, Russell, let's see, when you, once your child selects a book, then you're able to see if that book is, you know, if it's, make sure, first of all, that it's age appropriate, the amount of time that it will probably take to read that book, and then you're able to look at the AR level. And one of the things that we did do when we sent our kids home this year, I sent them home with a letter with some suggestions, some things that they could do to prevent the summer slide, and then I also gave them their summer AR reading level. So that's important, and that is one of the things that Epic Books does in fact provide. And this book is about a dancer. I selected this book particularly because I've been to more ballet recitals and rehearsals than I ever thought I would. So this was a great choice for me. But and the graphics are great in the book. So they're very, I think that the children will find them to be very engaging. So I do like Epic Books, and the subscription for Epic Books, it's 2 months, which will get them through the summer, and then maybe their teachers perhaps using it in the classroom, but it's perfect for what we're talking about doing the summer. So please definitely check Epic Books out. Another one of my favorite things to do, I use News-O-Matic, and I like News-O-Matic because it allows me to teach current events at an age level that is that it allows me to deliver the news to my students at an age that is appropriate. One of the things that I don't ever worry about when I pick up News-O-Matic is I know that there are child psychologists that have been in as a part that have played a role in selecting the articles, and so that the articles are age appropriate. I love this particular newspaper for children because it's interactive. It allows, if let's say the child is not at the level where they can read the text, they can choose to have the text read to them. Let's say that they're reading about a part of the world that they're not familiar with. They can click on the globe and they can go there. Let's say that they read something that really excites them. Then they can choose to act and to be a part of that. And our students love News-O-Matic, and I'm actually working with a program this summer called Horizons, which works specifically to prevent the summer slide. So I'm delighted that I've got a summer subscription that I'll be able to use with them. And then, you know, we've talked a lot about reading, we've talked about writing, but math is another area where kids tend to lose. There is not any work. And as a parent, you don't want to give your kid a workbook. You want it to be as engaging as possible. And 10 Marks is a web-based Flash application that allows children to receive remediation if that's what they need, or enrichment if that is what they are in need of. 10 Marks provides immediate feedback. I love that each module is only 10 problems. And when we get into that set of problems to do, it'll let you know if you need scratch paper. You can use your iPad as your scratch paper. If it's a concept or a skill that you're not getting, you're able to get a hint or to watch a video, kind of like Khan Academy. So 10 Marks is great. Once upon a time, I've used it for tutoring, and in the past I've had to pay for a summer subscription. Now 10 Marks is free. So basically, parents signs their child up, they take a baseline assessment, and they receive individualized instruction based on where they are. So I love 10 Marks, and 10 Marks provides immediate feedback. It lets you as a parent see how much time your child has spent working on a concept, if they took advantage of any hints or of any of the videos. One of the things it does is it gives a child at the end of answering the 10 problems to say, okay, you've missed 2. So they have the choice of either going back and correcting, or if they really don't know, then you know, they can see where they messed up, and then they will see more of that type of work as they work through the app. So I sent my children armed with News-O-Matic, Wonderopolis, Epic Books, and 10 Marks over the summer in hopes that they will not experience the slide. And I also encourage them to set up their own blogging or just to keep some type of journal, because many of them will travel over the summer. And that's one of the things that I like about these tools that I've suggested, is that you don't have to be home in order to get the work in. So thank you all so much for this opportunity to share.
Thank you so much, Tammy. That was really wonderful. I appreciate your perspective, and I honestly, I think if you've made it to your, I guess your daughter is 20 and she's a lifelong reader. I think she's you know, I think you're set. I think she loves reading at this point.
Right now.
So well done. You know, I did want to just remind everybody, we will send out information in the next 24 to 48 hours about how to access your free subscription for the summer, and so that you can get folks reading. And I'm just looking at the, you know, some of the Q&A. One of the questions was, is News-O-Matic on Twitter? Actually, I think Linda Bird asked that question, and of course, right there, I think I pointed to it. We are, so we're at news, and Twitter doesn't allow hyphens, so we're underscore _O_Matic, and I think we've been live tweeting this event, so thank you, Lillian. And there's not too many questions, but I have a few here, and let me just ask. There was a question for Jane, and she said, this was from Tatiana. She said, you have mentioned a few interesting apps. I wonder if you could present this list in TWA blog.
Well, Tatiana, yes, it's definitely going to be on Teachers with Apps. I didn't want to do a preview, so it's not up yet, but it most definitely will. And if Jennifer or Tammy would like to share their slide presentations, I'd gladly post them also.
That's fine with me.
Yeah, great. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, and then there was just a question from Marjorie. I think she just had a spelling question about one of the apps that was recommended earlier. Is it spelled Tigly and Osmo? I'm not sure if one of you can.
Yeah, Tigly, T-I-G-G-L-Y, Tigly, and Osmo is O-S-M-O, and you better look for Play Osmo because there's more than one Osmo that might show up.
Okay. But the other questions, a lot of folks wanted to know if we could get a copy of the slideshow. What I'll do is I'll save it as a PDF and try to send it out as well. And like I said, we're going to try to get the recording of it so folks can access it at a later time, because I know that some folks weren't able to make the entire thing. Other than that, it looks like most of the comments or the questions were really comments. There was a question from Lizette asking about our News-O-Matic Spanish translation. She said, I know News-O-Matic can translate the text to Spanish. Will it soon also translate the titles and slides? So I just want to show folks, in case that they don't know, we have every one of our stories is actually bilingual. So right here I'm going to go into, this was the story about racing around the world. And all you have to do is tap the Espanol key, and all the text just flips to Spanish. And the titles, actually, the graphics aren't changing yet. We're working on that. But the title and subheadline are always in Spanish on the top there. So that's that. And just one little cool feature, if folks don't know this too, you can actually tap Read to Me, and it'll read. Oops, this, my sound is down. But it actually reads it out loud in Spanish, which is pretty cool. We have our Spanish studio here in the office. Might know this app is. But we are going to be expanding on the Spanish features. We do want to have all of it be in Spanish at some point, including our comprehension questions, including the captions. We're going to be expanding on that, and at some point too, we'd like to expand on our languages. Since we have a lot of users in Canada, they want a French version as well. So we have a lot of work cut out for us. Oh, that was actually another question from Mary Walker Hope. I didn't even see that. Will it translate into French at some point? We're in Canada. I swear I didn't even see that. We have had multiple requests for that. I have a question from Kathy Ann. How can a family get the free 2 months on Epic Books? So I don't know if, Tammy, if you can answer about that.
Just go online and create an account. They can just go online to create an account.
Okay. Does anybody have any more questions about any of the resources? I know folks are, like I said, some folks are ending in the summer already. The class has ended. Otherwise, some of us have a couple of weeks left. So there's a lot to implement here, a lot of good ideas. Linda Bird is saying go to get a pic. I'm not sure if that's, that's for someone who's having a hard time seeing the screen. So it's 4:45. If anyone has any more thoughts, let me see here. Actually, we just got a question in from somebody who asked whether News-O-Matic is publishing during the summer, every day during the summer, and I think that's actually worth mentioning because there's a lot of children's news sources out there that they discontinue during the summer. They stop publishing. They publish during the school year, and then that's it. And that's the antithesis of what we believe in. We think that kids should be reading every day, all year long. So we actually publish 5 days a week, every single weekday, 52 weeks a year. I like to say that we publish 6 times more than USA Today. Since we publish on Christmas, New Year's Day, Thanksgiving. We just had a special Memorial Day edition, and you bet we'll be publishing on July 4th. So it's our belief that even if school is out, even if it's a holiday, kids should have new content to read, new information each day. So we have one other question here. What does that say? Oh, we have a question coming in here that says, are summer reading camps effective? So I don't know if any of you guys have anything to share about summer reading camps.
I would say that certainly summer reading camps can be very effective. as many reading interventions can be effective. I mean, anything over the summer is better than no no intervention or activities with literacy at all, of course. My point when I was speaking just in regards to access of books and access to text such as News-O-Matic is a lot of times budget constraints limit accessibility to reading camps or to summer schools, and merely getting text in kids' hands can oftentimes be just as effective as more expensive summer school or reading camp type programs.
Anybody else have anything to add to that? All right, well, we just got one more question in here. It says, how about reading exercises? Are there any recommendations on specific exercises for writing exercises?
What was that question?
If there are any specific recommendations for writing exercises for the summer.
Well, I think I covered a lot of different creative type of writing concepts. So once my slide deck is up on Teachers with Apps, I think you need to revisit that. Maybe you didn't make the beginning of the presentation, but there's some great writing activities for kids.
Yeah, like I said, I'm going to be having my kids be using the summer reading journals, and I like the timeline, and actually I remember keeping a travel log like that myself when I was a kid, so maybe that's why I'm here today. All right, well, everybody, I think we're coming up on 45 minutes from the start. This was actually worked out quite well. Thank you so much. This was our first webinar, so I want to give a round of applause to Tammy, Jennifer, Jane, everybody else. And thank you to all the attendees who've been out there. Again, you've got our information. We'll be sending you all an email in the next day or so with the information on the subscription. Follow us on Twitter so you can stay in tune all summer long. And I'm really looking forward to growing this community and continuing to work with all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Russ.
Thank you so much, everybody.